What's up, peeps? Nick Battle, aka NinosCorner, man. First off, you like this content that is coming your way, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, get all my notifications here on YouTube. But folks, if you're listening to this on any streaming podcast, whether it is Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Breaker, the whole nine, anywhere there's a streaming podcast platform, we are there. Comment, like, share. Give me a review, a 5-star comment, review, everything. It helps the channel grow immensely. But folks, today we're going to do a quick reaction video to Coach Sarkisian's press conference here today for August 15th. But prior to me getting into that, let's talk about our sponsors. Folks, support for the Ninos Corner podcast is brought to you by BetUS.com. Folks, go to BetUS.com. Use the promo code Ninos Corner and get 125% sign up bonus using the code Ninos Corner. And if you don't feel like doing that, folks, go down in the comments, go down in the description, and click on that link down there, and you will be routed straight to that 125% sign up bonus. Football season is coming up, folks. You can even use it now for betting on preseason games, UFC fights, boxing matches, the whole nine. You want to go get your 125% sign up bonus using BetUS.com, promo code Ninos Corner. Also, folks, my second sponsor, folks, 20% promo code, so 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the corner Ninos Corner at manscaped.com. Again, folks, 20% off promo code and free worldwide shipping using the promo code Ninos Corner at manscaped.com. But folks, today you guys are here for the reaction video to Steve Sarkisian's press conference here today on August 15th. Basically his first press conference after the scrimmage that happened here on Saturday, where we had a lot of key injuries go down with Isaiah Nayer being out for the season, Junior Angelau being out for the season as well, Cole Hudson being out pretty much for possibly the remainder of the fall training here, but should be available for the first game. Rojo being out 4 to 6 weeks, Alfred Collins being out 4 to 6 weeks, and Jade Barron, Barron being out 4 to 5 weeks as well. But with no further ado, folks, let's go ahead and get into Steve Sarkisian's press conference.
Well, I think a couple things just to recap the scrimmage Saturday. I thought the energy, the tempo was really good Saturday. We've, like you've been asking me, and things that we talked about coming out of the offseason, getting ready for camp, what were some of the things of importance from a defensive perspective was the ball. And the ball was definitely alive Saturday. I think we had 3 interceptions. I think we caused 4 fumbles, didn't recover all of them. But that's a great start to attacking the football from a defensive perspective.
Let's pause there for a minute. Defense basically got 3 picks, 4 fumbles. It didn't get all the fumbles recovered, but they stripped the ball 4 times basically. That bodes well for the defense, but it could bode bad for the offense as well. However, it will be interesting to see if Steve Sarkisian is basically going to come out and say who threw those picks. We've heard that it's been a combination of both of the quarterbacks. However, 3 picks, 4 fumbles from the offensive side of the ball does not bode well. But that for the defensive side of the ball gives us a little bit of, hope that the defense is turning that shelf. I have full confidence in Steve Sarkisian's offense. I got a feeling that they're going to do fine this year, whether who's going to be starting at quarterback. But to hear that the defense has been doing their thing here in the first scrimmage is very encouraging.
I thought the line of scrimmage was really physical on both sides of the ball, which was good for us. I thought seeing the young players in action was obviously good to see, to watch them run around first time, kind of being out there on the field by themselves in settings where you can go from all the different scenarios, and you see certain guys respond and certain guys that have work to do, and that's okay. But at least it gave us a little bit of a gauge on that front. Obviously we had a couple pretty significant injuries Saturday, losing Junior Angelau and Isaiah Nayer to season-ending injuries, which was tough. But that's the game. Football is the game, and that's why you got to continue to build depth so they have other guys to step up and play. I hate it for them. I feel for those guys. They both had really good off seasons to get ready for the season. So, my prayers go out to them and them getting better and getting healthy and coming back stronger than ever. For us now it's next man up, and we got to make sure that we've got those pieces in place, which I think we've done a good job of in recruiting to ensure that we can do that. So, we got plenty of time. We'll be okay on that front. We had a couple other guys get nicked up that are going to be out for a short, limited time. Roshan Johnson, Jade Barron, and Cole Hudson. So, no different than probably a lot of other teams. About this time at camp, you start to get nicked up. Unfortunately, we had a couple season ending, but like I said, the next guy's got to be able to step up and go. And unfortunately, we lost a couple other guys for a few days, maybe a week or two, but they'll get themselves back. I think the last order of business is just the suspension of Ajay Hall.
All right, we're going to talk about Ajay Hall next, but let's break down what Steve Sarkisian basically said about the injuries here. You're looking at a guy like Junior Angelau, who you saw Cal Flood was moving around the whole offensive line. He started off at left guard this year, moved over to the right guard position, just basically later on here in camp. But as of lately, he has been transitioning to be the second string center to maybe take over the starting role over Jake Majors. We all know that Cal Flood likes big humans on the offensive line, and Junior Angelau is a guy who's 6'5", 330 pounds or so. If you go back and look at that 2020, Bama offensive line, the starting center there was Landon Dickinson, who was a transfer, I think, from Florida State. But he was a guy who was also 6'6", 330 pounds. So that's the kind of guys that Cal Flood likes bigger guys across the offensive line. And so if you pair him and put Junior Angelau at the center position, then you can start piecing together that offensive line with big humans around him to fortify that line and make sure that line doesn't get moved. Not having Junior Angelau is going to potentially put Texas in a position to start quite a bit of freshmen this year. And if you don't start the first couple games, I think by the end of the season, you're going to see 2 to 3 freshmen who are going to be starting on this offensive line. Junior Angelau leaving basically leaves one of the guard positions open. If you take a look at the offensive line and what we project and think that it's going to look like, it's a Kelvin Banks Jr. at the left tackle position. At the left guard, probably a guy like Hayden Connor. At the center, Jake Majors, Cole Hudson at the right guard, and then a guy like Christian Jones at the right tackle. However, will Christian Jones be able to fight off some of those incoming freshmen? I think you have a guy like Cam Williams, who has played right tackle pretty much his whole career in high school, who is suited and basically trained to play that position. We've heard, from the circus and the camps last fall, this past spring, where we had Kelvin Banks go to a few camps and try to play right tackle. That's not his position. He's a left tackle. So he didn't look too good in the camps because it's hard to put a guy at right tackle when he's been playing left tackle his whole career on that day and just flip the switch. A guy like Cam Williams has been playing right tackle pretty much his whole career at Duncanville High School. So if he is able to step in and be an immediate impact at right tackle, Cal Flood might just have to do that, and we might see 3 freshmen across this line. Now, the one thing I do want to note, Coach also said that Cole Hudson is also going to be out for an extended period of time, but he should be ready here for the first game of the season. If Cole Hudson is out, that's going to give a guy like DJ Campbell the opportunity to get a bunch of snaps and to get his feet underneath him. He's a little bit behind now because he did not come in the spring like Cole Hudson. He was the only offensive lineman from that 7-member freshman O-line class to actually enroll early. So DJ Campbell's probably now going to get those snaps, and maybe he can make up some ground there. But even if he does make up some ground there, Cole Hudson is the guy that you can't keep off the field. Because he's one of those guys that this staff really likes. And so if you have a guy like Cole Hudson that comes back and is ready for the first game of the year, and let's say a Christian Jones doesn't do what we want him to do, let's say Cam Williams doesn't come in, and he's not the guy to actually play that right tackle position. Now, if Kelvin Banks, if DJ Campbell, if Cole Hudson do shine like everybody is anticipating that they will, how sweet would it be to have a lineup like a Kelvin Banks Jr., a DJ Campbell at guard, Jake Majors at center, Cole Hudson at the other guard, and a Hayden Connor at the right tackle. But this is all here. This is all just speculation, folks. But with injuries comes opportunity for other players to shine. Texas went out and got 7 offensive linemen in the 2022 cycle, which is great for them to establish that depth. And that's why they went out and got that many folks and that many players for the offensive line. Talking about Isaiah Nair, the next guy who's out for the complete season, this one blows, I think, the most. This one hurts. This one hurts because that was an opportunity for Texas to get a bona fide number 2 or like a 1B wide receiver that had no kidding legitimate looks from the NFL, averaged over 20 yards a catch when he was at Wyoming in the previous year. However, this room is not a thin wide receiver room. You got an Xavier Worthy. If Jordan Whittington can stay healthy, one of the most one of the best signings that Texas got in the transfer portal was getting Tariq Milton here from Iowa State. That guy is a guy who can definitely back up a Jordan Whittington, but Jordan Whittington also has played across the entire offense when it comes to wide receiver. So maybe he can take that X wide receiver position that Nair has taken, and then you can slide a guy like Tariq Milton in there, or Troy Murray, who we haven't seen in 2 years, but now he is running and actually running routes and not just straight line. So we have bodies there, and we have Ajay Hall, who has an indefinite suspension, but coach is about to talk about that now. Let's go ahead and listen to it.
Um, we're working with Ajay, we're working with his family to get him in a situation where he can be a really functional part of this team. And the goal for him, the goal for us, is to play great football at the University of Texas, graduate from the University of Texas, and be a great teammate and walk out of here an even better person than he did when he arrived. And so we're putting all the pieces in place to help him do that. When the time is right, we'll have him back on our team. I think like anything, everybody's at a different stage of their career. My job as a coach is to put our players in the best position to be successful, not just in football, but in life, in the classroom. I felt like this situation called for that. This was not something that was based off of one incident. This is something that was a body of work that I felt like I need to help the young man, and that's what we're going to do. And I think that he's been very receptive to it, and hoping when he does come back and join us, he's going to be in a really good spot to help contribute to the team.
Let's talk about what Steve Sarkisian said about Ajay Hall. Ajay Hall is probably the guy he has all the upside, a lot of potential. He was the number 1 or number 2 wide receiver in that 2021 class. So it was him and Xavier Worthy. Those were the 2 top, wideouts pretty much in the country that year coming out. So him actually being on this Texas roster, he was basically taking those second reps behind Isaiah Nair. But he is indefinitely suspended, which is a good thing for Texas because since they didn't put a no kidding timeline on this to say he's going to be missing a game or missing 2 games, they can pull back and bring Ajay, Hall back whenever they need to. And in situations like this, where we've had a guy like Nair who has gotten hurt, guess what, folks? We're probably going to see Ajay Hall come back a little bit sooner than people thought he was going to come back. Because guess what, folks? Talent wins games. Talent wins games, man. You can have the scheme all you want, but if you don't have the players to run that scheme, it's not going to be successful. Ajay Hall is a rare talent, a guy who is tall, rangy, fast, a great catch radius. If he can just keep his hands on the ball to be amazing, he can do great things here at Texas. But what I did like what Coach Sarkisian said about this, that he is working with his family. And this isn't the first incident that Ajay Hall has had here at Texas. We all understand he got kicked off the team at Alabama, came down to Texas, and he's had multiple incidents from basically what Coach is saying right now. This isn't the first incident. However, he's willing to work with this kid, make sure that he doesn't waste that talent. This is probably his last shot when it comes to playing D1 football. To leave a program like Alabama and have an opportunity to resurrect yourself in a new team in Texas and follow the offensive coordinator who recruited you to Alabama gives him an opportunity to have a second chance at football. he can't screw this up. Ajay Hall cannot screw this up. He's got to get everything sewed up here mentally to make sure that he is the best quality player that Texas can have here on campus for this season. I think Steve Sarkisian can get the best out of him. I think Brennan Marion can definitely get the best out of him. These guys know about second chances. All right. These guys know about what it means to have a second chance and how much work it takes to be able to produce on that second chance. Life's a struggle. And just because you beat one instance doesn't mean you gotta that you can like put your guard down and stop fighting. Yeah, you gotta always have your guard up. You gotta continue to fight, and that's something that I think Steve Sarkisian and Coach Brennan Marion can teach Hall to ensure that he stays in the field and becomes a productive player in the field, and also a productive player in life, like Coach said, to become a better man once he's off the football field.
Because their season, say, what's Junior and Isaiah's ankles?
ACLs. Both of them had ACLs.
Damn,
yes.
ACLs.
And were they contact drills?
There were no one. Isaiah's was non-contact. Junior's was kind of in the midst of the fray, but technically it was non-contact when it occurred. There was no contact by anybody else.
The Junior's injury, I know you don't like to cross train and have guys play multiple positions, but does that hurt you all more at guard or center with the game?
I'd probably go a little bit more with center, with him just being that first backup to Jake. Now I still feel comfortable about Cole Hudson being able to play center. I still feel pretty good about Connor Robertson being able to play center, and Logan Parr has center experience. So we're not, we came into camp very deep at that position intentionally. So I don't think we're in dire straits anywhere. But what it does, it puts our young players in a position to see who can step up and who can fill those spots as they present themselves. And so whether it's Cole Hudson, a DJ Campbell, a Neto, some of these guys are going to get real opportunities to step into those positions. Obviously Hayden Connor's been doing a nice job for us at guard. So there's going to be a great competition. And like every other position, competition should bring out the best in the guys that are in the midst of it.
It's something that, guys, if you guys have been following the channel, something that I did not want to happen in Texas, to have a freshman Fab Five when it comes to, playing on the offensive line. But I don't think we're going to have a Fab Five playing when it comes to freshmen. But like I said before, and even Coach just said it now, Junior Angelow not being in, Cole Hudson not being in for, a period of practice now, it's going to give some more of those younger players opportunities to shine. And so, he named them by name. I think everybody knows Kelvin Banks Jr. is going to get that left tackle spot. I mean, I think it's like the writing's on the wall there. But he said DJ Campbell, Neto, Cole Hudson. He's naming off guys that have the potential to come in and play right away. And so when he starts to name certain guys, those are the guys from the top of his head. Those are the guys who he has seen in practice, who he's probably been impressed with. And that's why he's naming those names. But yeah, this is an opportunity for these 7 young freshmen who have come in his 2020 class to get some no-kidding live reps. And these guys are going to have to be ready to play. And so everything that Coach Sarkisian, everything that Coach Cal Flood has been teaching to these kids and preaching to these kids is that the best person will play, and that you're going to have opportunity to start if you are the best person. It's literally going to come true here for the 2022 season.
Do you expect those injuries to bleed into the season, or do you think you'll have them available for week 1?
I think we'll have them back by then. Again, we're not in a position to where we have to rush them back, but I sure don't want them sitting off to the side and getting rusty.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get them back, at some point before week 1 of the season. But if it takes that long, it takes that long.
Do you, because now you're down 2 receivers, do you go in that room and try to give a pep talk or pump them up? But who needs to step up, to fill a void like that?
I think Coach Marion does a heck of a job, first of all, coaching those guys. I think that we've got really good leadership in that room, obviously with Jordan Whittington, Xavier Worthy. We've had some players start to emerge and start to take really positive steps in a direction where we're starting to count on them. Casey Kane's been a guy to me that's been a really pleasant surprise. this training camp, has made some plays. I think that, as I touched on, we're starting to see some steps in Troy O'Meary. We have high expectations for Brennan Thompson, Savion Red.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'm leaving some people out, but the goal is to making sure that when we go play that first game, we've got our frontline crew ready to go, and that we've got the crew behind that front line that is capable to go in when needed. And I think we'll get to that spot. We like we do every training camp in our system. We put a lot on the receivers about the first 8-9 days, and then now from here to the first ball game, it's a lot of fine tuning, a lot of detailed work that they're getting now.
Sark, you mentioned before.
So that's good to hear. Having a guy like Xavier Worthy and Jordan Whittington, those are going to be your top dogs. I think with the offensive line issues that Texas is having with Junior being out, I think we're going to see a lot of 12 personnel, folks. And this is going to be basically 12 personnel is one tailback, 2 tight ends. Those 2 tight ends, folks, I think we're going to see a lot of JT Sanders, Gunnar Helm. Watched a video today from Inside Texas, with Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. And they basically said that look out for, for Juan Davis, and Juan Davis is one of those freakish athletic guys. Reminds me, I'm not going to say he is like a little Jordan Humphrey, but he reminds me of him, where he did a little bit of everything. He played some running back, played a little bit, like quarterback, played some wide receiver. He was an athlete. That's what, Humphrey was here when he was at Texas. So he kind of profiles to me that kind of player. But I think we're going to see a lot of 12 personnel where we're going to have 2 tight ends there, one to stretch the field, probably a JT Sanders to stretch the field, or a Juan Davis, and then probably a Gunnar Helm who's going to be able to chip, block, and also slip and get some catches as well. But that wide receiver room is not as thin as people think. Like we said, Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington. Coach gave praise now, to Troy, basically saying that he is starting to feel himself now. Then we got, like you said, high expectations for a guy like Brennan Thompson, who's a 10-200-meter guy. Just get the ball in his hands and let him go. Nobody's gonna be able to stay in front of that kid. Let him get a fly up the field a few times a game, take a shot. He's that fast. Savion Red, I'm the president of his fan club. I've loved this game since he was at Grand Prairie, I think. But this kid was everything. I mean, he was the quarterback. He played everything. Wide receiver, running back. He was it. And he was the reason why his team was in the playoffs. And he's a guy that, let's be honest, if this guy would have played wide receiver his whole career at a better school where he could focus on wide receiver, he'd be a 4-star wide receiver, hands down. Reminds me a lot of a Devin Duvernay, not as fast as Devin Duvernay, but just the build, a guy who has that running back ability when he gets the ball. When he catches the ball, he's like a running back. So it's kind of refreshing to see somebody with that kind of skill, with that kind of physicality at the wide receiver position. And you can see Coach Sarkisian is very high on him. He called him out by name. So yeah, Tariq Milton's going to be another guy who has some experience in the Big 12, a guy who averaged 20 yards a catch just a couple seasons ago at Iowa State prior to getting injured. So we got some guys and some bodies in that room. Casey Kane's another guy that he mentioned, very surprised at that as well. But hey guys, everybody who comes in, it's not going to be a ready-made Xavier Worthy, ready to step in and play day one. Casey Kane is one of those guys who has to develop, and that's what a program is supposed to do. Everybody's not going to be ready. Everybody's not a 5-star blue chip kid who's going to come in and play immediately. And that's what Texas has been relying on here for the last decade, is playing kids way before they're supposed to get played. Casey Kane might be a really good player here at Texas here this year and the years coming, but he had to develop, and that's what's supposed to happen. And you're seeing he's naturally developed, and we're seeing and hearing that he's been a great deep ball threat for Quinn Ewers when he's on the field.
You ask guys to learn multiple positions, not pigeonhole guys. How much does that help manufacture depth and help at times right now when maybe you've got some position flex to move guys around and figure out the best combination?
Well, I think it's huge. I think that at the end of the day, the two guys that are probably the most comfortable playing anywhere on the field are Xavier and Jay Witt. And so that's very comforting, knowing your two most experienced guys
can play anywhere,
are the most comfortable going anywhere, playing any spot. I think Tariq Milton is another guy. His experience has helped him learn to where he feels very comfortable going anywhere. I think Casey Kane could line up anywhere. Some of the younger players sometimes are a little bit more limited to what they know, but the goal is we keep trying to push and keep trying to get them to learn. Clearly, you can. We saw it with Xavier last year. He played just about every position for us. So do I expect him to have it all through 10 practices? No. That probably wouldn't be very realistic, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop coaching him. So at the end, when we get ready to go play our first ball game, the goal is to feel really comfortable with 6 guys that can go in that game, and regardless of the situation of the game, feel good about what they can do. But we definitely need those first 3 to be ready to go play and play at a really high level.
Did either of the quarterbacks in the scrimmage do enough to earn the starting role?
Not yet, no. Not that they played fine. I think they all, I think the offense in general probably looked at the film and said, man, we had some missed opportunities. Whether it was throws that maybe weren't where they needed to be at what time and with the right accuracy. I think we had a couple drops from a receiver standpoint that I know those guys would love to have back that could have created explosive plays. The running game obviously created some explosive plays for us. So I think offensively they're probably looking at like, we missed some ops. But that's good. I want them to feel that way, not walking out of there thinking, man, we didn't do anything. They created enough explosive plays, but there were more there that I think they were chomping at the bit to get back out there and go attack again.
That's why.
Yeah, I would say it's tight. I would say both guys are working very hard. They both got great attitudes. I've actually talked to both of them separately just about their mindset, the room, how they're working with and with one another, but yet competing with one another. But I think they both are operating and doing it at a high level. And I think both of them recognize, man, there's room for me to improve. And if I'm the other guy, he's thinking, man, there's room for me to improve. And that's what I love. They're not worried about what the other guy's doing. Their focus is on what they're doing now and what they can do moving forward. And that's, I think, what's making it really healthy.
We got a good quarterback battle here, folks. And, it's going to be interesting to see who takes this job. I think, people will have bet money that Quinn would be the guy, but it's looking like Hudson's doing a good job as well of keeping this thing close and possibly has to lead here. So this is a good quarterback battle. You can see both players want to make each other better. And we'll see, folks, who's going to win this.
Yeah.
The offensive guy, just we see the ball on the ground 4 times.
Yeah.
How much does that eat at you?
Well, I think the way a couple of them came out are very fixable things. It wasn't so much that we were just running with the ball loose. I think it was the finish to a couple of the plays. I think one started with a exchange with the quarterback and the center that led to a poor exchange to the running back, which in turn led to he didn't get a great grip on the ball and got hit and the ball came out. What I love is that the defense took advantage of those things when they presented themselves. So I think offensively, I was probably a little more concerned with a couple of the interceptions, especially when they occurred and how they occurred. But again, that's our job to coach it and coach it out of the guys to eliminate those.
So, like, key facts is what the coach is saying here is that it was ball handling, basically the center to the quarterback to the running back. So the center didn't get the ball to the quarterback cleanly. Quarterback doesn't get a clean ball, gets it to the running back not cleanly, and that caused a fumble. Guys shouldn't really worry about. That could come from the third string center handing the ball off to Hudson Card, or actually snapping the ball to Hudson or Quinn. It could be a guy who's brand new at the center position, meaning a freshman who hasn't played center. So coach isn't really too worried about it. Like he said, what he's worried about is those interceptions. And maybe this is where a quarterback's not seeing a safety, a quarterback trying to fit a ball into a window that he probably can't get it into. But you can't be too mad at that either, because practice is the time where you should be able to try to figure out if you can make that throw. And if you can't make it in practice, then you're probably not going to try to attempt that throw in the game. So practice is where you're supposed to screw up, basically, right? And then once the game comes, you know what your limitations are, what things you can do because you have practiced that over and over and over, and you know exactly what you can do within that offense.
What was the psyche like after the injuries on Saturday and today when you got back out there, considering all the adversity talk you guys kind of gone with?
I thought the psyche was great, and we competed our tail off Saturday. We ran well over 100 plays. It was well over 100 degrees. We conditioned afterwards. They ran gassers. There was great spirit on the team. We had an off day yesterday and came out and had one of our more energized practices we've had in camp. So I think the psyche is really good. We've got good leadership on the team, and we've got a lot of hungry young players that provide a lot of juice as well.
Is that refreshing to see, considering all what you talked about?
I mean, as a coach, I'm of the adage, you get what you emphasize, and we've obviously emphasized culture, team bond, accountability here for nearly 8 months. And to see it come out and come to fruition, especially through a time when maybe guys weren't feeling as good, that's a positive, and what I saw even Saturday, some of the younger players, maybe get frustrated because they were going the wrong way or making a mistake or the ball didn't come their way, which is understandable. They're trying to figure it out. I saw veteran players go over and take the lead. They didn't wait for the coach to come and do it. They took the lead. So all those things to me are really positive because we put a lot of time and effort into it. And for us to be the team that we want to be, that connectivity is critical to our success.
Tomorrow's practice, is that going to be kind of a vanilla deal, or is this a full scale practice?
I mean, we're going to practice. Don't get me wrong. It'll be a good practice.
So the guy asked a question because Tuesday is supposed to be the fan practice where the fans can come see the practice. So basically, I think we all understand this is going to be a very vanilla practice. That's what coach is, basically trying to say. This is going to be a very, very, very vanilla practice.
But it'll be grandma's cookies without the secret ingredients. It's going to be
grandma's cookies without the secret ingredient. That's funny as hell, coach.
Probably scaled down, watered down. I'd love to go out and show all our stuff. The problem is, with social media, people like to film and put it out there, and then, I got, Joe from ULM watching, Billy up in the stands filming our practice. So that part's unfortunate because I'd love to show all the cool stuff we've been working on, but unfortunately, that's just the nature of the structure of it all. I love the fact that we get to get out and be around our fans and them to see our guys work and work hard, but schematically, it'll be pretty vanilla.
Yes, going back to the wideouts, obviously there's an opportunity for the younger guys to step up and maybe earn some reps and targets. What do you want to see from Brandon Thompson, Savion Grad, those guys?
Well, I think one is consistency. I think for us in our system, the first challenge to be counted on to play is you have to know what to do. The second one is you need to know how to do it. I don't really care if they know why they're doing it that way right now, but they need to know what to do and how to do it, and then they need to use their skill set and go play fast. They're both very talented young men, so that's what we're working through is that consistency of play, of what to do and how to do it, and then do it with them using their skill set to be as electric as they can be.
Do not buy solar panels if you live.
So, folks, when you take a look at this and you hear Steve Sarkisian's press conference, you kind of get the idea. I don't think he's too worried about the offense. I think he understands that he's going to have probably better quarterback play this year, so the offense is probably going to click a little bit better this year. I think he understands that he has playmakers. He has to make sure that his playmakers can stay healthy. However, he has recruited well at the skill positions, at the running back positions, also at the wide receiver positions. So I think he's going to be fine at the skill position players. The only saving grace, I want to get to these injuries. The only saving grace that we have with these injuries is that it did happen early. And so this gives the opportunity for these younger players to step up and try to be the best that they can be right now. It gives them opportunity to step up and do what they know that they can do and what we want them to do right now. They didn't have to wait until the last week of the season. You know, we hate injuries. However, the earlier the injuries happen, the more opportunity and the more time we have to prepare the players who might have been second string to step up and be first stringers and starters out there and be ready for the first game of the season against Louisiana Monroe. But folks, that was the reaction video to Sark's August 15 presser. Let me know what you guys think about the presser. Leave comments, like, share, subscribe. And on that note, folks, don't be afraid to fail. Outgrow your environment, understand your brilliance, and horns always up. Hook 'em.